All right, we're back. We're going to build a virtual chassis now out of three switches, three EX4300s that I have out of our demo pool. Now, I'm sure you've done this before. This is really just more about recording the steps that I'm taking to build the lab environment that I'm going to use to replicate your environment. Now, there are some practices that I'll use here. Again, probably things that you're doing already. Particularly with the mastership priority, there's no hard and fast rule. There are some recommendations and documentation. If you read them, they'll say that, set member 0 and member 1 to 255. I don't like doing that. I really like the mastership to be deterministic. What I want my RE to be member 0. I want my backup to be member 1. I kind of like that. Now, you'll see on the text here on the side that, or above me, that I have 4 switches configured, and that's just to illustrate that if you're building a template, it doesn't matter if you build that configuration for all 10 members that a VC supports. If you only have 3, again, the configuration is just sort of overlays over the hardware. So you can have this set, for all the members you'd ever use, and no matter what you've got plugged in, whether it's 2 or whether it is 10, that configuration will still be valid. So let's get started. And before I do, a quick word on what I'm using here to connect. I have a Raspberry Pi that is connected to a USB hub that is in turn connected to 7 RS-232 USB to serial adapters. I use this, and actually I'll just fire it up again here so you can see it's Pi 7. I have a script that I execute when I boot this thing up. And I do sudo screen -R to reconnect. And I can use then Control A to switch between screens. So I have 1 through 7, 4, which is what I'm in here. And you can see that at the bottom of the, so you can use this screen right here. And I can go to 5, 8 right there, and then 6 right here. Those are my 3 switches, the 3 EX4300s. Now, you can see on the second switch, if you 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom, and the third switch that I'm getting these messages. That's because these devices are zeroized, so they've got the default configuration, and they have this auto image upgrade. There's tasks that they try to do when they're first booted up to grab a configuration if one's being offered to them, or to try to phone home if they're going to do zero-touch provisioning. In that case, all the work that we're going to be doing here is going to be from the master. Although we are going to check something on the other devices as well, but that's mostly because I got these out of the demo pool, and we really need to make sure that they are all set to a non-mixed mode. Now, when you build a virtual chassis, it can be in a mixed mode or a non-mixed mode. And if it's in a mixed mode, that's there to support a mix of different platforms. Like say you've got EX4300s and EX4300 multi-gig switches, you would have to run that in mixed mode. We also have mixed modes that are EX and QFX. There's not a lot of combinations that work, but there are combinations. And if you are in one of those situations where you've got to stack 2 different types of platforms with each other, you do have to have mixed mode enabled on all of the member devices. So I can do a show virtual chassis. Virtual chassis is enabled by default on all the EX switches, but if they're not plugged into a virtual chassis, they just come up as a single node and in the master role. And here we can see that mixed mode is not enabled. Now, if this was a Y, we would need to run request, virtual chassis mode disable mixed. That's it. And that would change that Y to an N, and then I'd have to do a reboot as well. So we're going to just make sure, because I've had devices come out of demo pool before where this is set to mixed mode, and if you have mixed and non-mixed mode devices, they will not stack together. So let's just check this one as well. Show virtual chassis. We can see that that mixed mode is an N, and then we'll check this one as well. CLI show virtual chassis. Okay, so we should be good to go here. Now let's go back to the master, and all I'm going to do here is a little bit of configuration. You can see I already have this set up. I wanted to save a little bit of time. You can see this configuration just mirrors what's over here on the left. So really all that's left to do is to actually plug these devices in. Now, there's a couple different ways I can do this. I like to reboot them. That's just the safest way to do it. Normally, now I have these other devices on, but normally if you're doing this just out of the box, you build your, you'd boot up your first one, you'd load the configuration on it, and then you'd boot up the second one, and you'd plug the, you plug the cables in, you boot up the second one, and then you'd plug the cables in, you boot up the third one maybe 20 seconds after that second one, and you just go on down the chain. And then they would, as they come on, be assigned a member number. That member number's sticky, and you would get your RE, your BK, and then all your LCs, your routing engine, your backup routing engine, and your line cards. So I'm going to go through that process. I'm going to power down the second and third switch in that stack. I'm going to plug the cables in. I'm going to power up the second switch. I'm going to count to 20. I'm going to power up the third switch. I'm not going to make you sit through it. So I'm going to pause here, and then we'll come back when that process is complete. All right, we're all rebooted here. Let's take a peek, see what's going on. I'm in Windows 6. Show virtual chassis. Hey, that's not looking too bad at all, is it? We got our master, we got our backup, and we got our line card. And I do know the serial numbers check out because I looked at them earlier. So we're solid. Great. The next video I do is going to be upgrades, and it's going to take a minute because I got to downgrade everything, and then I'm going to upgrade it again. Where are we at right now? Version. Actually, I might just be able to do it from here. Is that right? Oh, good. I'm on 18.1, so I'll upgrade to 18.4. So I'm going to show how we do an upgrade in a virtual chassis in the next video. So I'll see you then.